Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Dauntless, more specifically about the monetization of Dauntless. Now, as you guys should be aware, because I did a video about everything that you should know when it comes to Dauntless, Dauntless is going to be a free-to-play monster hunting game on the PC. And as with everything when it comes to free-to-play games, one of the things that you definitely want to know before you decide to dedicate an enormous amount of time to the game is what exactly can you purchase with real money. Now, the developers have been cited, and I've seen a lot of interviews from them during E3 and stuff where they say that they are strongly against players being able to pay for progression. To them, progression is a part of the core gameplay, and it should only be experienced through people that actually put in the time in order to progress, people that actually learn how to defeat these behemoths and all that stuff. And those are the people who are going to progress, and they want to make sure that they don't mess with that system by allowing people to like purchase rare armors and stuff like that. This is what they are saying in interviews. And as a matter of fact, I have a lot of information here to give to you guys today from stuff that I looked up, as well as some things that I saw on the Play Dauntless website. Just bear in mind, this is all this is all information that is being collected ahead of the release, hell, ahead even of the Founders Alpha. So all of this stuff is subject to change, and if it does change, just remember it was true by the time that I recorded the video, because news change fast. Just keep that in mind. Another thing is I'm also going to be speculating about some of these things. I will be clear as day about the things that I'm speculating on. Okay, so let's get started. The things that the developer said that you're going to be able to purchase are special emotes. Now, as we all know, when it comes to Monster Hunter and monster hunting games, emotes is kind of like a special part of the experience, particularly when you're in social areas and stuff. You're all just emoting, you're doing the prancing emote, doing all that kind of stuff. So emotes is going to be something that you're going to be able to buy with money, and I'm perfectly okay with that. That to me is perfectly fine, because even though it is an integral part of the experience, it is not something that I would consider to be a progression thing. So to be completely honest, I don't care. I think that is a perfectly legitimate thing to monetize. The other thing that they plan on monetizing are flares. Now, I don't exactly know what the function of flares is going to be in Dauntless. At this point in time, they just seem to be, they seem to serve the same purpose that they serve in real life. You shoot up a flare and people know more or less where you are, and so they can get to you faster. Maybe, maybe people are going off through the map, and then you can shoot up a flare to say, hey, I found the monster, he's over here, or I found a gathering spot for a rare material or something. Boom, you shoot your flare, there you go. Obviously, I'm assuming you're going to have basic flares no matter what, so being able to customize your flares, like if you guys have seen the videos from PAX East, there's some gameplay that came out of PAX, and they have flares there that basically they shoot the flare into the air and it shows PAX on the flare. It just stays in the sky like that. So I'm assuming that's the kind of stuff they're talking about. You're going to have special flares, and maybe we'll do drawings in the sky, different colored flares, that kind of stuff. Perfectly fine with that. Once again, it is a cosmetic, so it shouldn't really matter that much. Armor dye colors. That is another thing that they're going to be selling. So again, a customization thing. And to be completely honest, I really, I'm kind of a purist when it comes to that kind of stuff. So personally, I will want to be rocking the armor in the color that it comes from the monster that it comes from. I mean, I don't know, maybe after I get deeper into Dauntless, maybe I'll be like, oh, you know what, this would actually look better in red, because red's my favorite color. So I'd be like, this actually looks better in red. Maybe a couple of white highlights in there and stuff, maybe I'll start thinking like that. But at this point in time, I'm much more of a purist. I'm like, hey, I killed, like a shrike or something. I'm expecting the armor to be brown, is what I'm saying. The other thing that they just mentioned is other incidental cosmetic elements. So this is the stuff that I've seen mostly talked about throughout interviews and stuff like that. But then I got to thinking, okay, so we already have Founders Packs announced, right? So maybe I should take a look at the Founders Packs and kind of break those down and see, because usually when you have Founders Packs for free-to-play games, what the Founders Packs kind of give you is stuff that you're able to purchase with real money, because essentially you are purchasing the things in the Founders Pack for real money. So it's kind of safe to assume that some of those things at least are going to be available for you to purchase later down the line, even if you're not a founder, or at least that's, you know, that's the conclusion that I'm reaching to. So let's talk about the founder packs. More specifically, I went ahead and I went to the most expensive founder pack, which, by the way, is actually discounted right now. It's supposed to, I think it's supposed to run you down 99 bones, and right now it's at 76 or something in their Play Dauntless thing. But yeah, anyway, beyond that. So champion status. This is something that is also included in another status that they give you, which is patron status. But let's start with champion status. So champion status is basically a buff which increases behemoth drops. Now this works kind of like a subscription, I believe. So you'll be able to purchase, you know, time in-game throughout when this this buff is going to be active. Like maybe you'll be able to get 30 days of champion status. At least I'm assuming. Let me just double check on the website here. Yeah. On the founders packs, for instance, for the hero founders packs, you get champion status for 90 days. In the founder, which is like the most expensive one, which is actually 79, not 76, you get patron status for 90 days, which also includes the champion status. So this is going to be a time buff thing that you'll be able to purchase almost like a subscription to an MMO if you so desire. But it is, as I mentioned, optional. So the champion status, what it does is it increases behemoth drops. That is the description of that specific buff. Now this right here is the buff that concerns me the most. Now, obviously, we don't know exactly what increases behemoth drops means. We don't know what kind of percentages we're talking about. We don't know what kind of items we're talking about. So it's all going to be whether or not this particular thing is going to be fair, is going to be up to how influential this is. Like if you're telling me, you know, you get champion status and you can get the full set of armor in one hunt, and you don't get champion status and you need like 5, to me that's maybe too much. You know, that's the kind of stuff that we need to determine, which again, we're only going to be really able to determine whether or not this champion status is that impactful once we get our hands on the actual game. So that is something that I'm very interested in figuring out, because this buff right here, like I said, is the thing that concerns me the most, and it is going to be a very important factor in whether or not I want to dedicate a whole lot of time into playing Dauntless. Because as it stands right now, I really want to play Dauntless. If I find the champion status buff to be too powerful, I'm not sure how exactly I'm going to feel. But again, this is all in the air right now. Nobody really knows well, maybe some people know, because I think there are already people playing the game, but they can't talk about it because they're in the EA. But at this point in time, there's no way of saying whether or not the champion status bonus is fair. But anyway, that is another one of those things that I'm assuming they will monetize, and you'll be able to purchase champion status over time with real money. And it will affect drops. Now, it just depends on, again, what kind of drops are we getting. Does this mean we get twice the amount of cores, the Aether cores that we then crack, and we get twice the amount of loot? We don't know. And I'm assuming it's not going to be that. Like, to me, for this to be fair, it'd be something like, okay, so in 10 hunts, you're able to form a full armor set without champion status. Let's put something like that. 10 hunts, you can form a full armor set. And that's like maybe an exaggeration, because probably it's not going to be that hardcore, I don't think. But let's say it would take 10 hunts for you to usually create a full armor set. And with champion status, if it would be like 7 or 8 hunts to craft that same armor set, I'd be okay with that. 7 to 8, someone else has to do 10. I'd be pretty okay with that. You know, that's the kind of disparity that I'm talking about. It'd still be worth it for the money, and it would still be fair for people that aren't paying for it. So I'd be okay with that kind of difference. Anything more than that, I'd be like, if you're telling me that someone's going to get the same armor set with me with half the amount of hunts, like if you drop it down to 5 or less, then I'd be like, you're kind of pushing it. But yeah, this one is the thing that like I said, the thing that affects me the most. Now, the other status after that is patron status. Now, patron status includes champion status, which will increase behemoth drops. But on top of that, it also has another stackable bonus that they don't really tell us what it is. It just says share a stackable bonus with your party, and it also includes champion status. Now, I'm assuming since this is a buff that is going to stack, it might be something like it's going to be very minor, or at least I would hope it'll be very minor. Something like maybe, I don't know, you'll get 2% more damage. And if like 4 people have it, you'll get up to 8. Maybe a little bit more, like you'll get 5. And if 4 people have it, then it'll be 20. 20%, you're starting to, you know, talk a lot of damage. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe it means you start with a couple of more consumables. Maybe, I don't know. This stackable bonus, we don't know exactly what it is. But if it's basically a buff, I'd be fine with it. You know, some people having a buff, being able to pay for a buff to make the hunts a little bit easier, it should be, you know, it shouldn't be a big deal. And to be completely honest, it should make people that don't care about this kind of stuff just be able to tackle hunts with a little bit more difficulty, a little bit more challenge, which I all know that my Iron Breakers love their challenges. So there you go. But those are the 2 time things. Now, there are more time things, which we'll talk about later. But the other item that they have in the Founders Pack is a pack of consumable items. So that means you'll probably be able to purchase consumable items with more real money. Now, I'm assuming consumable items will be limited on a per hunt basis. I'm not exactly sure if that's the case or not, but I mean, if you can basically drink potions to your heart's content, that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. And I don't think that is going to be the case from the gameplay that we've seen. I'm pretty sure that the amount of consumables that you'll be able to take on a hunt is going to be limited. And I'm also assuming you're able to craft your own consumables. So this is basically if people want to skip the crafting grind, they might be able to purchase consumable items. And I'm actually pretty okay with that. It's not a big deal. So long as I'm able to go on hunts and grind my own potions and stuff, this is not a big problem. You're going to get, again, on Founders Pack, you're going to get in-game title and forum icon. This is completely cosmetic stuff and flare and whatnot, not really a big deal. A Founders Flare, we already talked about the possibility of flare monetization. Again, not something that I find to be that bothersome. You're going to get chroma cores. Chroma cores are going to be the dye colors for armors. So, again, not a problem, just purely cosmetic. Transmog stones, these pretty much speak for themselves. Stones that allow you to do transmogrification. So if you want your Shrike armor to look like Amberman armor, you will be able to do that stuff, which is not something that I don't think I'm going to get into, but you never know. A lot of people love transmogrification, and more power to them. I think you should totally go for the transmog stones and, you know, make your hunter look as much of the unique snowflake as you possibly want. And again, if they're monetizing that, I'm perfectly fine with it. No problems there. The Style Hunter. Now, that is another timed buff. And it's an interesting one, this one. It is a timed buff, which basically the description is discover rare vanity and customization items while you slay. I'm assuming this means that behemoths will, besides dropping materials for crafting armors and stuff, they will also drop stuff like chroma cores, transmog stones, and other vanity stuff that you'll be able to unlock. Maybe even emotes and stuff like that. So that is cool for, you know, for the people that really want to get additional loot and really want to fully customize their stuff. They can get the Style Hunter buff, and they will get that stuff while they're also getting the rest of the gear that they're trying to grind. So again, not a big problem. Again, just the customization thing. Don't really care too much about it. It's good stuff, completely valid stuff to monetize. And then we have the Founders Banner, which is basically a special emote that you will be getting as a part of the Founder Pack. And that, again, perfectly fine. Emotes, not a problem at all. And then the final thing is a guild charter, which is going to be something that allows you to start your own guild. Now this is, it's perfectly fine to be able to buy it with real money, so long as you can also get a guild charter using in-game currency or craft it through some kind of hunts and materials and all that stuff. So long as you can get that stuff without paying real money, that is fine. Which I'm assuming you will, because I mean, let's face it, if they're going to be forming guilds and stuff, you're gonna want people to be able to create guilds. Although I'll be honest, I myself would not mind, you know, paying money for the privilege of creating a guild, but I just hope that it's still available for other people to be able to, you know, get their own guilds without necessarily having to spend money. And that's pretty much everything on the list. Like I said, the one thing, like out of all of these things that we talked about on this list, the one thing that I'm concerned with and the one thing that I really need to know more details is the champion status, because it specifically increases the amount of drops a behemoth has, and that can potentially mess with progression. But since the developers have clearly stated they don't want to mess with progression, they don't want, you know, the game to become pay to win, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but we shall see when we get closer to the game and I eventually get access to it and start playing it and figure it out for myself. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Remember to leave it a like if you really enjoyed it. Comments, feedback, all that kinds of good stuff in the comments section below. And I will see you guys in the next one.